If someone offered you everything you ever wanted, money, fame, supercars, sex, freedom, power, would you take it? Even if it meant giving up who you are? Because most people already have, and they don't even know it. They've already been bought for cheap. So the other day, this video pops up on my YouTube algorithm from a channel called the Almost Fake Podcast. And it's about people who are like into the occult and new age spirituality, and they convert to Christianity. This is not what my channel is about. But I come across this video on my algorithm. And this video is about a man who used to be in a satanic coven. And he joined at 12 years old. So why did he do this? Because they said yes to everything he wanted. So sex, because it's a crazy story. It's a messed up story, but they had him carrying out sexual things at the age of 12. Junk food, drugs, alcohol, adventure, freedom, no rules, right? Everything his parents said no to, they gave it to him on demand. And as he got older, he did a lot of things that people would consider quite deplorable. And I won't get into it. You can go watch the podcast. And I asked myself, as I'm watching this, why am I watching this? Like, it's literally making me uncomfortable to watch, yet I keep watching it. Why am I watching this? I keep watching this interview. Why? And, I'm taking it in, I'm listening, and I start to get a bit sleepy as I'm getting to the end. So I'm falling asleep, and I have this question in my mind. Why am I watching this? So I have like a 30-minute nap, because it was around 2 o'clock in the day. So I have a 30-minute nap. And I wake up, and I know why I watched this particular podcast. And it's something I already knew, but I needed a reminder, which I'll get to. So now back to this ex-Satanist person. He didn't know what power was. He thought that power was getting what you want. And this is why I watched the interview. I was being reminded about want. And you see, even as he got older, he didn't realize that want is the fastest way to be enslaved. Because when someone else can give you everything you crave, they can also own you. So by the time he was grown in his 20s, he had access to $87 million, okay? And mind you, he became one of the top level guys in the whole world in this whole Satanism belief, right? One of the top level guys in the world. I'm not talking about just his coven, the entire globe. He's meeting with rock stars. He's meeting with celebrities. He's meeting with politicians. He's meeting with people of influence. They're requesting things of him. They're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to his coven, basically. And he lives the lifestyle. He travels the world. He has the status symbols. But here's the crazy thing. None of it is his, okay? The $87 million, that belongs to the coven. The Lambo, it's borrowed from somebody else that lent it to him who was within the whole Satanism thing. The flights were paid for by the coven, but only when he was doing work for them, for the coven. He didn't own anything. So he's basically just a puppet with Gucci strings. Nice stuff, but you're still being controlled. And what he truly sacrificed was far worse than money. He basically gave up on his values, his voice, his soul. Now, you might be thinking, Seth, I'm not in a cult. I would never do that. You know what's crazy? The more you guys follow me on this channel, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. But the more you follow me on this channel, you're going to learn some odd things about my life. I've been in a cult of sorts before, but it was nothing like this. I wasn't doing the crazy things that these people are over here doing, but I would say I was in a form of cult for a brief period of my life. So I understand how people end up in them, because people are like, yo, why would anyone join a cult? Because they don't tell you it's a cult, bruv. Like, they give you what you want, which is why I understand where this guy's coming from. And I've seen both spectrums of this. I have experience. Most people are just like, oh, yo, these people are crazy. You don't understand how it operates. But You're probably thinking, oh, I'm not in a cult, I would never do that. But here's the truth. Most people have already done what this guy did, okay? Selling out your soul, your voice, your values. You sell out your power every single day for tiny hits of dopamine that make you feel good, okay? You betray your vision or what you want to say to get a few likes on Instagram, or you won't say what you actually believe because you're worried people won't like it on Instagram or the internet or YouTube or wherever else. Am I recording over here? Oh, yeah. So you tolerate disrespect to keep a paycheck, right? You chase luxury so you don't have to face the insecurities that you have. I know what that's like. When I first started getting money, I bought a bunch of stuff. I thought I wanted a bunch of things. I bought a bunch of things to fill a void that never got filled. And you do this because you've been programmed to want things over and over and over and over. And want is one of the most dangerous states to live in. Listen, want itself, desire in itself is not a dangerous thing. When you live in the state of want and the state of desire, you are in trouble. Because when you want something badly enough, you'll do almost anything for it. And if you're so tempted by the things that you want, you don't know what you will compromise, including your sovereignty, including your freedom, and you don't even know it. I also have personal experience with this, right? You don't know if you're in a desperate situation and let's say you want money, you don't know what you're willing to do. Me, for instance, right? If you follow me on this channel, you know my story and how I initially first started making money as a talent manager in the OnlyFans business. People will judge me for the rest of my life due to me making money in that business. You understand? Because I was in a desperate situation and I wanted something. Now, I don't regret being in that business. It taught me a lot and is a major reason why I can help anyone make money outside of that business anyways, and why I've helped so many people to begin with. But still, there are people who will judge me for the rest of my life due to that. The people who subscribe to me, though, the 5,000 something of you, none of y'all have judged me. So thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate that. But anyways, you don't know what you do. You don't know. Now, I always relate things back to universal law. Okay? And the universe, I like to draw it as a pyramid. I have other videos where I really break down how the universe operates, but I like to draw it as a pyramid in 3 parts: spiritual, mental, physical plane. Now, the peak of that pyramid is the all, okay? Or God, or Allah, the universe, the Big Bang, the initial creation spark of the universe. It is the peak of the pyramid. It is the most orderly part of the pyramid. Physical reality, the bottom, is the most dense and most confusing. So the more you get to the quality of God, right, the more orderly things become. So the fact that his parents told him no for certain things is more in accordance with how God operates. When you encounter certain blocks in life, right, you think you're being told no. What's actually happening is that you're being directed upon the correct path. Now, if everything is yes all the time, let me be careful how I say this. If everything is yes all the time, you should just be wary. Like if you have yes men all around you, you should be wary. If everything is yes all the time and you never fail, and you should be wary of what's occurring. And if all you want to be told in life is yes, you will find yourself in a satanic coven, okay? Getting all the things that you think you want. So, Hermetic law tells us, as within, so without. Which means the real reason we want anything is because we think it will give us a feeling. Money makes you feel secure. Fame, for instance, will make you feel significant. Sex is going to make you feel wanted, depending on how that operates. Power is going to make you feel free and like you have sovereignty. But here's the real secret, though. You don't need those things to feel that way. You don't need things to feel. Feeling comes from you, not from stuff. Okay? You can generate the feeling inside of you right now. Okay? Security, significance, love, freedom, joy. All of it is accessible when you stop outsourcing your power and you start embodying it. Because the more you want, the more reality is going to control you. And the less you want, the more you control reality. The person who can't be bought is very, very powerful. There is nothing more that people with money and power and corruption hate than people they can't buy, because that's their trump card. It's always like, how much do we pay him? But if you can't be bought, you have a different level of empowerment in life, a different level of empowerment over reality. So now the question becomes, how do I stop wanting? Now, here's the thing. You don't kill desire. You don't stop wanting things because you're gonna want stuff. Like if you're in a bad situation, you're gonna want money. If you're unhealthy, you're gonna want to be healthy. So you're not killing the desire, but if you live in a state of want, you're gonna be in a problematic position. What you need to do is empower yourself. You need to understand that when you are empowered, you can shift reality to get the things you desire instead of trusting in the false promises of other people that tell you yes to everything. So what you need to do is become so strong in yourself that the world has nothing it can use to manipulate you. And you need to become empowered in 7 areas of life. So your mind, your health, your relationships, your income, your wealth, and your spirit. Okay? And I talk about these things on my channel, but for those who haven't seen, you need to be empowered in the mind. Okay? If you aren't empowered in your thoughts and empowered mentally, other people who have more empowerment will just insert things into your head and you'll believe them and you'll do what they say. And they will control your life and they will disempower you. And everything begins in your mind. Everything in reality starts with the way you think. It starts with the mental plane. Nothing comes into reality without first thought. Okay? Empowered in health, in the body. You need to be strong and you need to be healthy. Because if you're sick, for instance, right, and all you want to be is healthy now, I can control you. Drugs or things that take away the pain that you end up getting addicted to. And if I have these things, I can control you. I will disempower you and continue to make you disempowered. If you are empowered in the body, in your health, it's much harder to have those things happen to you. Plus, if you're strong, because like, let's say you work out or whatever, that's something hard to do. When you regularly do hard things, it's harder for people to sway you. It's easier for you to say no because you have to be disciplined. So you're more empowered. You can say no. And remember, I told you, being able to say no is in accordance with order, in accordance with God. Empowerment in relationships. This is a big one that I have intimate understanding with because I told you what business I came from. OnlyFans business. If someone can give you the illusion of love, they can control you and disempower you. So let's say in the OnlyFans business, right? It's all the illusion of love. There's a guy who has a particular level of disempowerment, and he is paying a model to give him the illusion of a relationship. Now, there's benefits and drawbacks to the whole thing, which is universal law, the law of polarity. There's no good without bad, no bad without good. They don't exist without one another. So it's not like it's all bad for him and it's all good for her, right? Because she has problems too that she needs to deal with. She has social risk, people judging her, people saying all kind of thing about her, and the potential for her life to be problematic. At the same time, he's getting the benefit of feeling good that he has this interaction, and he's got to pay for it, right? So this is a level of disempowerment and empowerment. So if you are disempowered in relationships and you need love and you're just so longing for love and your parents never loved you and your father did this and your mother did this and people are this way to you and all you want is love. If somebody is predatory, they can take advantage of you and they will control you. They'll manipulate you. That's on the man's side. On the woman's side, right? Women, if you just want love and you want to be loved, some guy can come around and love bomb you and pretend and get you locked in. And now you're doing whatever the hell he tells you to do. A whole bunch of crazy stuff, right? So you need to be empowered in relationships. Otherwise, you're going to get controlled. Income. This is the biggest, this is the biggest one. Because you have to ask yourself, you need money to live, right? You need money to have lifestyle. You need money to live. Who's controlling your money? Is it coming from one place? If you lose your job or your boss doesn't like you anymore, income gone. Do you have a business and you have one client? Income gone. How empowered are you in income? How much sovereignty and autonomy do you have over the income you receive? And income is one of the easiest things that people use to manipulate people. Oh, just pay him. Oh, I'm rich and all I need to do is pay you some money to do what I want. Pay him. Wealth, next level of empowerment. Wealth is a step above income because wealth allows you to maintain your lifestyle without income. And this is very powerful because it acts as a level of defense where you could really tell people no because you're like, I don't need your money. F off. No, too bad. Because you have wealth, you'll be fine. You don't need income. So this gives you like a moat. Now, depending on who you piss off, they could interfere with your wealth. They could take your assets and your properties and seize things and this type of stuff if you piss off the wrong people. But most people aren't going to piss off the wrong people. Then you have influence. Do people mobilize or do what you say? Do you have any influence on anyone? When you say something, does anyone do anything? When you have influence, you have a level of defense and offense. So if people are attacking you, you have a level of defense because you have influence, people who will protect you and help you be protected. And you have a level of offense to mobilize people towards a cause, right? It's not just mobilizing people. You have to be on the forefront too. But influence is incredibly powerful and people pay for influence, right? Companies pay people who have influence because they want them to influence people's decisions. If you can't make a call to somebody to get help for something, you have no level of influence and you need to empower yourself because you can't do everything alone. If you have no influence and somebody wants to control you and says, hey, I'm going to make you famous so you have influence, they will control you. You got to get the influence on your strength, your abilities. And then finally, empowerment in your spirit. And this is your ability to change reality. Okay? And it's built upon the other 6 levels of empowerment of your mind, your health, your relationships, your income, your wealth, and your influence. When those are empowered, you're more spiritually empowered because you could change reality quicker. So for instance, when there were lockdowns in my country, I was like, I got to get out of here because this is all crazy. So what I do, I had income and I went to Mexico and I had connections to do things in Mexico because I have relationships and influence within those relationships and the income to make it happen and the mental strength to be able to say no. All right. So the stronger you get in these domains of empowerment, the less you crave. And the less you crave, the less you sell out. And the more magnetic you become to the right people, the right money, the right purpose. Look, I don't say some of these things to act like some perfect high and mighty guy, because I'm not. I've been manipulated. I have manipulated others. I have done all kinds of things in my life. I don't say this to say I'm a perfect person, but I have experience and awareness of reality. So now where I'm at now, I've turned down high-paying business opportunities, right? I've walked away from big partnerships. Why? Because I'm just not going to compromise who I am. It would make me compromise who I am, and I'm not willing to do that. And anytime I've stuck to what I believe to be right and courageous, I've been rewarded. I don't compromise who I am, and neither should you. So the real question is this: Where are you being seduced right now by what you want? You know what? Actually, here's the real question. Here's the real question. If you didn't want anything right now, what would you be doing? You're probably thinking, oh, I'd be on the beach chilling, sipping margaritas in the Dominican. No, you wouldn't. You can only do that for so long. Okay. You need purpose. You need reason for doing things. You need mission and vision in life. Otherwise, you're just going to waste your life away. You're going to be depressed. Your life is going to be trash, even though you might have everything you wanted, right? Ask yourself, if you didn't want for anything right now, what would you be doing? And that's what you should be doing now. That's power. Do you understand? So empower yourself. And if you want help with that, I can work with you in the next realm. I help people empower their lives in all 7 areas of life that I mentioned. So link is in the description for that. And I just want you to remember something. Your life is not for sale. So it's time you get strong enough to protect it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.